Hey guys, it is Monday, April 6th. Today is my son's birthday. Videotaping this earlier and it's windy, so I'm not outside today. Although I do like to be without my glasses. I have less of a glare. It's nice and easy to see things. Alright, so here's the deal. We are going to wrap up reproduction today. We're going to talk about the development of a baby. Yes, a baby. Alright, so it's saying what structure does fertilization of an egg cell take place in? That's going to be the oviduct, also known as the fallopian tube. Okay? And we're going to go take a look at this. We're going to look right here at development. We're going to write a few things down. I do not have a lot for you today. And then you'll do a few worksheets and you're done. Just make sure you're doing it, okay? Got to get grades, and I'm checking it, and I'll talk about at some point how the grading system works once I get full acknowledgement of the system I plan on using. So here we go. We have here a uterus over here. We have a fallopian tube, also known as the oviduct. I hate that my iPad does that. We have the ovary. Inside there is the follicle, and inside there is the egg. So, typically, day 14 on the female cycle, an egg is released into the fallopian tube or the oviduct. Same thing, two names. It's biology. So, once that egg is in there, it can be fertilized by the sperm. The sperm will meet the egg, it will fertilize it, and this is where we're beginning. So, after fertilization, the egg that is fertilized is now called a zygote. That is a single cell. That zygote is then going to implant into the uterus. And the implantation is going to take place right in there. And that's where the embryo is going to grow. Remember, zygote, embryo, fetus. Then it's born. Then you can have a baby. And it's going to grow in the uterus, not in the belly. That would be bad. You'd have hydrochloric acid, all sorts of digestive juices all over that baby. That wouldn't work out very well. All right, so we have this embryo in the uterus. Embryo / fetus develops in the uterus. And if we take a look here, day 1, we had our zygote and it's split into 2 cells. Then we had 4. Then we have more and more and more. Now there's specific names for these things. You don't need to know the names. What you do need to understand is the type of reproduction that's taking place there. These are identical cells. So what type of reproduction is that? That's asexual reproduction. So you have the sperm meets the egg, forms a zygote, and then after fertilization, once that zygote is formed, you now have asexual reproduction taking place. Now, as you continue making more cells, doing this mitosis, these cells become specialized. They differentiate. So you have cells that become neurons. You have cells that become bones. You have cells that become precursors for eyes and your special senses, your ears and things like that. So that's called differentiation, when the cells become specialized. After fertilization, the zygote divides by mitosis, and the cells get specialized. They become specific to what they're going to do. Skin cells, maybe blood cells, specialize. And this process is called differentiation. I like to say they become different. All right, so once we have divided enough and enough and enough, you will then become an embryo and then a fetus. So I want to talk a little bit about what is going on with the fetus. So here you are. you are. Here is the fetus inside of the uterus, and we have three parts that we need to know. So the first thing is the placenta. Okay, the placenta is an organ, and that allows for the diffusion of nutrients to go to that fetus. So you don't have blood really mixing. There's no real connection of blood vessels between the mother and the fetus. So you have the placenta there. Diffusion of nutrients occurs here. Okay, so you have that umbilical cord that's attached to that. So then you have the placenta has nutrients diffusing through oxygen, glucose, all sorts of things. That's going through to the umbilical cord, and then that umbilical cord is attached right to the fetus. The umbilical cord allows for the diffusion of waste to go through there, and then through the placenta, and then into the mother's bloodstream, so that can be transported out. So if you've ever seen like videos, you see pregnant women tend to urinate a little bit more. It's because they're dealing with waste for two. So the placenta, there's diffusion of nutrients occurring there. The umbilical cord is attached to that. And then the last piece here, you have that amniotic sac, and there's fluid inside of there. That is what is surrounding the baby. So if you ever heard like a water broke, you've watched on a TV show or whatever, and you see a woman who's pregnant, and then she's like, "Oh, my water broke." A good video is Coneheads, and when the mother breaks the water, it's comical. It's not real. It's very comical. That's the amniotic fluid, all right, and that surrounds the baby, the fetus, and that gives protection. Surrounds and protects the fetus. Now, if we look at this term over here, diffusion, you're going to have diffusion of nutrients as well as wastes. One thing that can happen would be the diffusion of toxic stuff. So let's say you have a mother who's drinking alcohol or doing drugs. That is going to be diffused in. Now, I know the Regents like to ask questions about this, and what they like to ask is, what is the reason that a mother can drink, let's say, a 12-ounce alcoholic beverage and no harm will come to her, yet a fetus getting that same amount, there would be harm done to it? And the reason why is, think about the size of the fetus versus the size of the mother, right? If you have like a baby and you're giving it a bottle, if you give it a 12-ounce alcoholic beverage, that baby is going to have issues. So it all has to do with the size. Okay, the mother is going to be a lot larger than the developing fetus. Now you also have development going on. The cells are developing, they're dividing, and because that fetus is so small and is not able to work those toxins out, cell division might be messed up. The division of the DNA, which we're going to get into next. All right, so this was a little shorter video about development. We have what happens after fertilization. We have a zygote, develops into an embryo and then a fetus. This happens in the uterus. The process to which those cells become specialized is differentiation. And the fetus is growing in the uterus, which is attached to an umbilical cord, which is attached to the placenta. And all along the while, you have the amniotic fluid surrounding that fetus. All right, guys. Have a good day. This is a nice short one, and see you tomorrow.